Oh, what's this, a new Netflix thriller or action movie? No, it's a Western hiding in plain sight.
What if we just walk away?
Well, now you're starting to talk.
And I was like, nah.
Netflix doesn't make many movies. Sorry, I meant Netflix doesn't make many good movies. And that's why when I actually really, truly feel like they've made an amazing one, I will be fair to them and speak up. And this is awesome. Terry Richmond may be black and riding into horse on a bike instead of a... Terry Richmond may be black and riding into town on a bike instead of a horse, but make no mistake, this film is an old-school Western masquerading as a modern-set thriller. And I've seen so few films try to do this, and I don't know why, because it feels very timely for the Western genre to finally make a comeback without needing the Wild West setting. I know that doesn't make sense, and I know that if you strip back, those elements from a Western, it should just be considered like an action movie or a thriller. No. It's about this guy, this stranger. You don't know who he is. He's big, he's buff, he's beautiful. I've never seen Aaron Pierre in anything before, but holy crap. I'm going to advocate hard for him now. He should be the next James Bond. He's English, he should be the next James Bond. Anyway, so he's a big, beautiful man riding into town. You know nothing about him or his history. You don't need to. He's got a goal, he's got a little mission, and that's it. And then he fights the injustice in the town. That is a Western, okay? It's got the format. Even though it feels like it's a very well-done modern thriller, it's also fully a Western. So yes, Terry Richmond rides into town on his bike looking to try and post bail for his cousin before he gets sent to a big school jail where, because of his history, he's going to be in big trouble getting stabbed a lot. And two cops just bump into his bike, take his money that he was going to use for the bail, and then leave. And almost arrest him, almost shoot him. Why? Because cops, black man, America. It's like a third world country, honestly, and that's why I feel like the Wild West kind of setting can come back in a revived format through this type of film, because the cops are now the big dangerous kind of landowning bad guys that all of the villains in Westerns used to be, that the sheriff would have to fight. Now it's just reverse. And honestly, you get a little town like this where they take the law into their own hands, the cops, and nobody cares, nobody pays attention to it. What's the difference between that and the kind of towns that you'd get in a Western? So as he runs into these two cops, you know that they're bad news because one of them is played by Roy from The Office. So you know immediately he's going to be a bad guy. That man has made an incredible career out of just playing like white supremacists and bad guys who beat their wives and cops who are corrupt. He must be the nicest guy ever in real life, right? That's how that normally works. So yes, after that, the corruption in the town becomes more apparent, and he's helped by Bridge to Terabithia, is that you? And together they go on a real adventure. Let me tell you, it feels as much as it's a thriller, and it's got lots of action elements. I'd say not loads, about as many as you would expect like a Western to have, honestly. Again, I feel like in every way this is secretly a Western, and it's one of the best Westerns I've seen in like 10 years, and yet it's not even going to go down as a Western. It's everyone online's calling it this new thriller action film from Netflix, and I'm like, that's not what it is. So yes, it's got like kind of the same number of action scenes as like a Western, and you think about that, it's not actually loads. There isn't like a shootout every 5 minutes in a Western, and that's okay. And that's where it gets called more of a thriller, which is fair. And it's a really good modern thriller. And you see all these thrillers where it's like, oh, uncovering corruption, blah, 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 takes 2 hours, is quite boring. That's what I expected this to be, and that's why I'm so thrilled with how it came out. It feels as if he's got to be like one of those like Jack Reacher characters. There's got to be a whole set of novels based on this, but I don't think there is. I don't think this is based on anything, and it's nuts. It has no right being this good at all. Normally you'll maybe get one good Netflix film a year if you're lucky. This blew me away in a way that's maybe only happened like 3 times since Netflix started making movies for me, and I've watched a lot of them. It builds up so well, and then that last half hour, meet Rebelridge, First Light. Oh, it feels iconic. This film feels iconic, even though it has no right being. It's not even... It wasn't even on my radar as like a big release. It was just, oh yeah, there's another Netflix film coming out that week. Alright, I'll watch that then. Oh my goodness. The leading duo are great together. Anna Sophia Robb, I haven't seen her in a lot recently, but she is fantastic. And they don't need an injection of like romance or anything. They've just got good chemistry because they're the only two people in this town trying to do the right thing. And that works beautifully. James Cromwell's also in this and he plays a judge. And frankly, the only thing I think I can say to sum up how I feel about this film is, that'll do, pig. That'll do. I'm giving The Good, The Cops, and Violet Beauregard 4.5 stars. Damn, John Boyega pulled out of leading this when they were in development. That is a shame for him, but honestly, I don't think he could have pulled it off this way. Aaron Pierre, I want them to reignite the whole Western genre just for him to boss it. Like, oh my god. I've not seen a star-making performance that incredible and that in such a random place in years.